And welcome to the second episode of the Fleet Nation podcast. And you know what it is. It's your girl. It's just Miss Wells. You guys follow me on Instagram. And tonight I've got a very special guest by the name of Kokane. Go ahead and introduce yourself and make sure you tell people where to follow you at on social media.
Well, thank you for having me on the platform. I want to give love, big ups to you, Classic, my little bro, all the Fleet DJs. I am known as the legendary Cocaine, the most sweet artist on the planet. That's me.
All right, awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and kick into this interview. So, of course, like you said, you are the legendary Cocaine. If people don't know you, I don't know how, but I do want to start this conversation off just mentioning that you are deeply rooted into that G Funk sound, have a lot of roots into really piloting hip hop and creating a platform on that side of it. So, like,
Right.
can you talk a little bit about how your hometown influenced your musical sound, so that way people know like where your version of who you are generated from?
Right. Well, I come from a musical background.
Okay.
My father is Jerry Buddy Long Sr. at Motown Records. Some of his works include Just My Imagination, by The Temptation, Papa Was a Rolling Stone, Four Tops, Supremes, a lot of slew of hits over there. Some of the greatest classics in the world
Yeah.
came from Mr. Jerry Buddy Long Sr., and I'm Jerry Buddy Long Jr. I was originally born in South Bronx, New York. Shout out to the East Coast. But it was cold out there. My dad had some work in Detroit to do because he was with Motown. He was a part of the original Funk Brothers, and they considered him the technician. He was an orchestrator, director, and all those good things. So, being born in New York, we had to make an exodus to the West Coast. But first, we went to Detroit, and then we moved over to California. And first was landed in LA, and then we moved from Los Angeles to Pomona at an early age, and that's where I was raised. Pomona, California. It's a small town with a big name. We got a lot of history. We got cats like Sugar Shane Mosley came from there. The girl Jessica that played in the Fantastic Four. Even Kobe Bryant's wife is from Pomona. You know what I
Wow.
mean? And just as well as above the law, cocaine and sugar free. So we got history in Pomona. And back in those days, since we come from a musical background, we were blessed to have all the type of different types of style of music, like a big pot of gumbo. It was jazz, it was blues. You know, grandparents always gonna be on that because that's my
Yes.
favorite. Yeah, I was raised by my grandparents, and it was the explosion of hip hop coming up in the '70s,
Okay.
and with arts and dancing and different other things like that.
Yeah.
So I first started my career, uh, 1984. That's when I first started my career, growing up in Pomona.
Oh, like it was destined for you to be where you are right now in this industry, coming up around such influential people like your father. I mean, the things that he pioneered and did out here set the way for what music sounds like and the history of what we know it as today.
Right.
Like with you blending these, with you having so much exposure to different sounds, different people in this industry. Like, talk a little bit about how that shaped your creative process and how you look at starting a track from the beginning to the end.
Well, there was nothing, like analog, going in the studio, splice and tape, versus the digital age is really AI. It's 10. You can't sign an autograph on a digital copy. It was
Mm,
better back then. The economy for the musicians was better.
yeah.
Things was It was a lot better. So them were different times, and being able to walk in the studio, my pops in the session, in the '70s, it just blew my wig back, like seeing a mothership. It was
Yeah.
like the running board was a mothership, and it didn't really hit me with all these people cats coming in from Al Green to Marvin Gaye to just here because I was a little shorty. But
Yeah.
then later through the years, it started hitting me, and I really started taking it serious about 83. I
Okay.
used to be in a jazz band. I used to be first trumpet. I always would play trumpet. So I learned a lot of my techniques from jazz, blues, even bluesy rock and roll. Just
Mm,
that type of style. And then when hip hop was coming in, it just resonated in the late 70s to me and going to the 80s. So I was the type of kid, I was the type of kid that way back then I was singing and rapping.
mm,
That's how much it had an impact. And it
yeah.
was nothing like going in the studio, going back to that, working your stuff, writing, pressing the button, mixing. That was mostly the organic approach of the music industry. And it articulated better to the ghetto and to just pop culture in general. Because those tones that were on that tape, see, a lot of people don't know it's energy, frequency, and vibration. It
Mm.
vibrated more, but because of digital, they took that away. You know what I mean? So with it, a lot of stuff that I do, sister, it's just going back to that old two step. You know what I'm saying? And you can look 60 years later, 50 years later, people still wear Chuck Taylors and they still drive lowrider cars. So some things ain't meant to be fixed. And we just want to, I've always been an artist that like to stay in my lane. Why fix it if it ain't broke?
You tapped on something that I had the opportunity to talk to Give Goody about in my first episode, and that is how people are actually converting back to the old way of doing things when
Yeah,
it comes to the industry, building the relationships, actually pressing up records and CDs and getting back to connecting with the DJs and really just going back to how it used to be when you had to navigate the industry versus living in this digital world.
right,
Um, and even seeing how a lot of these labels are changing, they're laying people off in massive numbers. And even it's like the creative piece of it and the connection and networking piece is the departments that you're seeing leaving a lot of these places because they're leaning on tech.
right,
But it's necessary for us to come in and have these type of conversations with people that have been in this industry for as long as you have and have been around it to
right.
understand that, like you said, sometimes you need to stick with the basics instead of trying to go out here and do something new. You've had the opportunity to collaborate with a variety of different people, from Snoop Dogg to George Funk to even having a current record that's out there right now or getting ready to come out, I think, with Ice Cube. So I do
Yeah.
want to touch in about how you were able to build these collaborations and what it felt like being able to work with such iconic artists.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Coming from a musical background, it wasn't like a big deal, but it was a beautiful thing because I was already seasoned way back then. But when my cousin Above the Law, his name is Code 187 from the group Above the Law, once they got put on with Easy E, I did a 3-song demo in 1989. It didn't take that long for me to get signed because Eric felt I was very different,
Mhm.
So that gave me my chance to have a great experience with NWA because we had a chance to go to London at an early stage. The only NWA tour we'll ever be was in London, Brixton, London. It was a new idea for me. Like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people take a long time if they reach that point to even get in. But the blessings of God had me at the place where I needed to be. And after coming back from London, the Bubble Law put out one of the most prolific albums called Living Like Hustlers in 1990. And then I was the next one coming out because Easy E had landed one of the biggest deals back in 90 ever. He was considered our West Coast Russell Simmons. It was with Above the Law, Kokane, and Poor Broken Lonely. So my name was spelled Cocaine for a reason because that name was given to me by my cousin because he felt, look, people gonna trip off your funk like if they own Kokane. You know what I'm saying? So we
Yeah.
changed it around Kokane, not to really advocate, hey, selling drugs. But that didn't work back then because the FCC laws are still stuck in that Dixie Cup tradition. They didn't do it. So what had happened is I had put out a record called Nickel Slick Nigga, and 3 months prior to Epic Records, because that was the distribution of Ruthless,
Okay.
we decided to change the name and put me Who Am I? So when I was going to Abbey Road dealing with Dwight and Brown, a lot of people was expecting to hear Kokane because that was in the streets. But then because that situation had happened at that time, it taught me a lesson. A gigantic door got shut in my face because you got to remember, NWA was cracking. It was on the radio, niggas with attitudes. So it wasn't like, yeah, you couldn't play Kokane, but nah, they wasn't having that system. But that was a good thing for your viewers, especially upcoming artists. Once you get that gigantic door slapped in your face, it's a reality check. Because here I am in London. When I come back to the States, it's gonna be on, and it wasn't, and that put a bad taste in Easy E, Dr. Dre, Code 187, Blah, and I'm out because at the same time we had sampled a record called Billie Jean from Michael Jackson. We had
Okay.
actually used the rights for Billie Jean to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson knew who I am because he know who my peoples is. My father worked with him. So he was like, yeah, we could do that, Drake. You could do what you do, but Michael was gangster. He said, I'll give you permission to use the song, but you got to give me 6 tracks and I cannot give you the publisher. So that was another door slam. You see what I'm saying? But it was all good. So the fella said, okay, we're going to put an album together called Niggas for Life, Evil Pizzaggy. So they challenged me because they was like, well, we ain't worried about the radio. We had a Chuck Demon mentality. So what we did, those gentlemen, well, actually what they did, they put me on Niggas for Life album. And the first person you hear on there, I'm introducing a character called Sweet Talk. Well, I write down across the USC Compton Arts data we know, as well as doing a Jamaican accent, and I had a chance to co-write Appetite of Destruction for NWA. And that was good because the radio didn't want to play me. I had to get I had a chance to go ahead and put my hooks and verses on the Above the Law Black Mafia Life, but that didn't come out to 92. But in 91, that put my imprint down, and that was my first platinum record, actually double platinum record in 1991, co-writing for NWA as well as guest appearing. So that was a healthy mission statement for me, sister.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an honor for me to have this opportunity to have this conversation with you because it's just so much history coming out of what you have been able to do in the short amount of time, because we still got a lot of time left. You are still out here making impacts in this industry. But I do want to talk about, like, how do you feel like the evolution of rap and the entertainment industry has moved along, especially since you've been in it for so long?
It moved on. It's always evolving, whether it's good or bad. You take the good with the bad. I'm just, from the time that, the explosion of Ruthless Records, because a lot of stuff that came from Ruthless Records after us, Death Row, you can even go down the tree, Kendrick Lamar, Bone Thugs and Harmony, 50 Cent. Everything was based upon the success of Ruthless Records that made all those different subsidiaries and artists, boost their stuff up and change the trajectory of their career. So now, the industry back then versus now, it was a lot of bullshit going on, sister. It was a lot of gangster shit. The industry is worse than the dope game. Real talk.
Man.
But now, the way it is with inviting digital from that aspect, it's terrible now. It put artists, the artists getting fucked on steroids now. Because what they did, and Prince was trying to warn us, sister, with the Napster situation. He said, "Bam, you don't want to do my name, you don't want to there." It was coming to a head anyway. So Prince was making all this money doing this shit, giving up game, without the people that were trying to put clamps on him. I'm not here to assault them. I'm just assessing things. I mean, That's what it is. So they clipped him. They clipped Michael Jackson. But it's too late. So what they did is devised a plan to put out propaganda for reverse psychology since they own media and brokered spots on these streaming companies that people wasn't even knowing that, hey, you get your plaque, but you ain't getting no check. So this been going on for a minute. So what I did is stepped out the limelight and when my team had said, I'm going to create a company that where everybody has to come to me because the power of direct marketing is where it's at. And that was 17 years ago when people were laughing at me, going up there getting their Spotify plaques, happy, but looking like Kunta Kinte. Because now they're taking all your stuff, 0.005 on the dollar, this, and that. And the propaganda was that, oh, we're losing stuff. You see Amazon, you see Tower, they're archaic now, they're no more. Do you know this is the most corporate greed that made the most in the history of the music business? Because they got you. So now when you funnel some of your stuff through their distribution, whether it's a subsidiary, it's hard for you to put your stuff on different other social platforms without getting flagged. And that's your music. And you didn't read the fine print. You didn't read what Zuckerman said. That's why they getting their hands in a cookie jar. So I'm happy from an independent point of view that it's the rise of it. You know, you can take your autonomy, and that's the reason why these big corporations, they don't have no choice but to, dissipate some of their things because people are waking up. Now, I don't totally shit on the streaming major platforms. I'm gonna play the devil advocate. But instead of giving them my hard-earned cookies, full albums, I'm gonna let you have a little meat over your head, so all those things can revert back to my own autonomy, my mecca, my trap house, my digital trap house. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. So versus, and this is for your audience or upcoming entrepreneurs that want to get into it. It's tricky. In a minute, they're going to look up and these different entities are going to be abolished because this is the reign of the independents. Now, I built up a substantial amount of people for years now, sister. And I didn't complain. A lot of stuff I didn't even get back. But I'm an optimist. I'm a tactician. I play good chess, not checkers. So I was patient. And those patient moments paid off because it allowed me to fall in love with patience. See, once you fall in love with patience and you stay consistency at a high vibration, things start happening on a quantum level. It established all these people, and now if I sell 10,000 units, and my album just came out, and it's actually 3 albums, almost 4 albums, called the Dr. Kokane trilogy, which Ice Cube, Corrupt, a lot of cats is on there. Live instrumentation. We sold at 100. I'm not going to tell you what we sold, but let's just say I sold 10,000 times 100. It's $1 million. So now, if you stream 1 billion, you're only getting 40,000. Wait a minute. That don't match up. And see, people got to get out of that carnal stage to where I want to be famous. I want to be famous. No, this is the music business. If you want to be famous, go rob a liquor store. You can be real famous. But if you want to make a business, and I know I'm talking out trying to give you the paper trail of what I'm saying, but it's time for us to raise our vibration, get serious about protecting your own brand, learn about it, put the blood down for a second, say no to the party, and educate, because you're going to be left out in the cold. Now, if they're doing that to the big artists, everything else is a snowball effect. But it's a beautiful time. I'm going to tell everybody. It's pros and cons and everything. It's a beautiful time right now for the independent people. And I wouldn't sell out this for anything because we get it at the end of the day, all money ain't good money. And not all, but a lot of these corporations always have ulterior motives, period. You got to get out the limelight and really see what's going on. like take the blue pill in the matrix system where it can open up your mind and see what the fuck is going on. It's crazy, right?
I want you to unpack the ulterior motives, because most of the time what you hear independent artists say is, I just want to get on. They want the money, they want the flash, they want the spotlight, they want all those things that they see in the media. But can you unpack that just a little bit so they understand that a lot of that is just smoke and mirrors behind what's really going on in the industry?
All this shit is an illusion. Even me talking to you is an illusion. It's just that how I'm perceiving it, how I'm perceiving this wall, how I'm perceiving this, everything is built upon, what your perception is. And I can go deep. And I'm not going to go deep. If you have deja vu, you probably did it in the last lifetime. You know what I mean? So in this illusion, it's just like the matrix system, sister. They expose so much on the matrix system because it's an illusion. It's to have you like the Pinocchio story. In the Pinocchio story, Geppetto was good. His pops did what he did, but they always ostracize him because he's made out of wood. Here comes the circus. The circus is in town. You can eat cotton candy. I'll put you on. I'll go ahead and do this. And everybody, oh, we don't want to go to school. We don't want to learn about it. And what happened? They go party. They have a good time. Oh, this the life. We can live. Put me on. But the next day, everybody turned into what at the circus? Jackasses and donkeys. You don't want to be a jackass just because you want to get put on, because really people ain't putting on. You got to come to the table and put on a platter where it matters, because that's in nature. And I don't mean to be funny, but that's in nature. Yeah. All sperm cells don't get to the egg to birth nothing. So if you're in tune to what's going on, then you'll have clarity on how to push things. You got to learn about mechanicals. You got to learn about publishing. You got to learn about all these things. And it's very important. And it's sad to say, everybody that's going to try to get to the NBA just ain't going to make it. Great. So it's more, you really have to be serious. Wake up. You have to become what you concentrate on. Most importantly, stay in a rhythm. When you stay in a rhythm and stay on the road, things start conforming and capitulating to exactly what your actions and behavior is. And that's what the same thing in the music. It's a blessing to see youngsters now, a majority of youngsters, to really wisen up and taking some of the things that they did, and saying, get your ass out the camera shot, because I'm trying to talk to the people now. You feel what I'm saying? So these are good times for people that are raising their vibration, because a new earth is coming, a new way of living is coming. This old shit is about to die out. You know what I'm saying? But for those that try to be on the narrow road in business and music, just whatever it is, stay there. All that other stuff is an illusion. You don't want to fall for it. You know what I mean? Especially if you're doing music or any other things to gain this economics for your family. You know what I'm saying? So getting put on, I wouldn't even want that route. Get that out your head. Say to yourself, I'm already on. It's happening. It's already happened. I call things into existence as though they were not. And if I stay in the rhythm with my thinking and action, watch what happens. And that's exactly what happened to me.
I love it. Like, you dropping so much knowledge. And I hope that everybody that tunes into this episode has the mental capacity to be able to pick up what you're saying. You've been in this journey, you've been in this space for so long, and you've had the opportunity to experience the highs and the lows that come along with it. Like, talk about one moment in this process that has stuck with you, that really shifted and shaped your career.
A lot of people say I like to take some of the things and pass out. No, always remember where you come from. Remember whether it was pleasant, unpleasant, whether it was cool, not cool. because all those things help shape your character. It's never when you get there across the goal and you say victory. No, the victory is in the middle. It's in the process.
Yeah.
It builds character. Feathers don't make diamonds. Pressure do. So I went in the context of not being so subdued by my past, because that's a lower vibration stage. But to only use it in the context that, hey, it was good times. Hey, we come from the era where grandma keep pictures on the wall. It could be that. Whatever your moment is good. And then if you went through some that is real dark, frustrating, say thank you for that. Thank you for that darkness. Thank you for that. Because if the light shines on all of everything and it shines bright, you wouldn't see nothing because you can't. But a little flicker in the immense darkness, you can see it a long way. And that's what anything people can learn from me is the experience that I can share with you. Factual stuff to be able to do what we all here for at the end of the day. All we here is to inspire people. All we
Yeah.
here is to inspire people. And newsflash, ain't no such thing as a self-made anybody because somebody's always there to help you. Your mama wiped your ass when you was shitting on yourself as a baby. You can't tell me that. You have to get that carnal shit up off you and stop looking at everybody quacking like a duck and step aside and be the eagle that God called you to be. Because eagles don't fly with the ducks, they fly too high. You got to have that mentality with nothing in your pocket. Because the problem is a lot of people fail because they in it for the wrong reason. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I love music, whether I would have money, whether I didn't. I love music because it was embedded in my 23 chromosomes. I couldn't help it. But I come from the era where I know music and frequencies, different other God's hertz, 432 hertz, and different other thing. God is music. Heaven is music. Everything is music. And at the same time, we need a balance in music, the yin and yang, because one coexists with other. So I would always talk about the suppression that I come from, but then I was more intrigued on talking about testimony and different other things. So when you hear the Kokane albums through my years, one of the songs that stick to everybody is a song called No Pain, No Gain, 1994 Ruthless release called Funk Upon a Rhyme. That song was played at Easy E's funeral. It was played so many funerals. You know what I'm saying? So that, from what I'm saying, is the most powerful thing is remembering where you come from, because you can use that in your music. You can thank the Most High for being where you are now. You know what I'm saying? And not being subdued by anything. So that's how I put it out there to be able to say, brothers and sisters, how many times you gonna show your pussy, and how many times you gonna kill a nigga on 1/16 anniversary? That's madness. And show me where the landscape of the hood and ghetto, I'll show you where music is.
Mm.
See what I'm saying? Real
Man,
talk.
like, so knowing that you've been in a position to have so many people influence you and then turn around and be somebody that's had the opportunity to influence so many other people in their musical journeys, like, what would you say is going to be something that you want your legacy to be remembered as you're writing it out? Like, it's not often that we get the opportunity to talk to a legend. We always talk about them after they've already transitioned, but to hear it from you, like, what legacy do you want people to think of once you've transitioned and people are talking about Kokane?
That was an inspiration to the game, to the world.
Yeah.
That's all. I was inspirational. It's like when I'm gone and they play these records, I want you to get inspired, because
Yeah.
substantive music lives forever. It hits your heart. It's like when I was doing records with Tupac, because a lot of people don't know, I'm on when the homies call. Well, all right, y'all. That's me. So it's like when you look at that time span that he had, and I miss my little brother Tupac. Shout out to Tupac. Um, They still talk about Tupac today.
Yeah.
You got to make songs that people going to remember and be inspired. So if anything, sister, they know Mr. Jerry Long, aka Kokane, most featured artist in the world, stayed grounded, 10 toes on the ground, but he was about inspiration for elevation.
Man, that's a legacy that's gonna that's if you want to leave a legacy, that's the one that you want to leave out here for people to know you as.
Right.
Like you've dropped a lot of nuggets in this conversation already that could help an up and coming artist. Do you feel like there's one piece of information that you would also like to see in here that somebody could take from this and understand how they need to make money for themselves outside of looking for the record label or the Spotify or the track that goes viral?
Right. It's your attitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. It's all in your thinking.
Yeah.
You know, when you adopt new concepts, it's only a blessing from God to giving you that knowledge. Because you can be knowledge all day without having wisdom and won't move the dial. Wisdom is your best friend. You know what I mean? And the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing, expecting different results. Like a dog chases its tail will be dizzy. It won't happen. You,
Yeah.
a lot of people are actually manifesting what they think, whether they're the sacrificial lambs, whether they were abused, whether they were molested, whether they was thrown to blade, whether the mom's was getting her ass kicked and the children see that pain created a PST and it carries like a ball and chain. But the good news about that is that just happened with me. God and family delivered me. It allowed me to get rid of the guilt of things that simply wasn't my fault. And the good thing about it is that everything has a season for the right reason for you to alter. You got to have some type of humility and brokenness about yourself. Because if you don't, you know it all. If you don't, I don't listen to somebody. And the wisest man once told me, sister, he said, you know what makes you wiser, Jerry? I said, what? It's a simple fact that you really don't know shit at all. So the capacity to learn is always there in your favor. You want to learn. You want to become it. So it's imperative that you have to practice positive thinking. It's imperative that you have to turn anything that approaches as a challenge and turn it around in your mind because the emotions and the heart, they follow the mind. In the mind, once you get it in your mind, even if it ain't produced around you, and the more you stay in the rhythm, you start tapping into those different dimensions.
Yeah.
You have to know that in this game, you have to be patient. You cannot rush. And in fact, you have to fall in love with patience. Some people are poor. Some people are put in jail. Some people lose their jobs when they don't have nothing. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good for you. Because the same thing designed to take you out, block you from getting a music deal and getting your stuff. That is the very blessing that you need to help build your character. Are you really serious with this? Because God will put you up to the test. He'll let you have something and dangle it just to see, hey, are you in it for the right reason? Are you in it because it's a moment? Don't do no
Yeah.
moment. Think ahead, optimistic, play chess. You know what I mean? But move through increments because it is the increments that are part of the process that reveals the wisdom so you don't bump your head and can change different other patterns that is keeping you on a block and chain. It's your pattern. You have to break it. You have to think different. I don't care if you thought, well, I did good this year, but the universe is saying, turn it up a little bit centimeter. I ain't saying you ain't doing nothing wrong, but I'm saying think different. Stop worrying. Won't you sit up and meditate for 5 minutes before you get on your phones and start doing this? Because won't you walk outside barefoot and tap a tree? Ain't nothing like anything that is organic. So if anything that I'm sharing with you or you sharing with me is from an organic, genuine approach. And I hope people can differentiate or decipher what I'm saying. But that's the thing, man. Uh, Remember your past so you know where you're going in your future. put God and family in your life because that's very important. The Most High. I don't care. I ain't so religion. I'm spiritual. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And number one, focus like a laser beam. All the sucker shit is on should be from your peripheral. You should not go like this and that. But if you have to do it, us human beings always have to bump our head before, like Albert Einstein, have to go back to E equal MC. It was always okay? So that's my message to people out there. Be inspired with what your creativity is. Um, love where you're going. Carry yourself with humility and humbleness because this game is about relationships and you're going to advance quicker than you think. You know, some will do it, some don't want to do it. This is going through their ears. But it's all good. Don't kill a messenger.
Listen, we try to give them the game, honey. That's all we can do is give it to you. What you
Mm-hmm.
do with it after you learn it is all up to you.
Mm-hmm. Real talk.
That we have the opportunity, and when I say we, the Fleet DJs has the opportunity to also interview your daughter here in the next couple of days. Like,
Yeah.
talk about how it feels to have her coming up in this industry and following your footsteps in a sense.
Oh, it's amazing. I done rock stages with a bunch of people. Been in London, all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Done thousands of features. You know, humbly speaking, putting out projects. Last 35 years didn't take a day off. Nothing. Nothing in this world is like rocking the stage. Excuse me. It's like rocking the stage with your family. Did a show and everybody was like, "Wow, your daughter got goosebumps." They not her. They was like, "We got goosebumps," and that made her feel good because it's about empowering young ladies, especially young Black queens. You understand? And that's what me and my wife wanted to do because I met her in 1984. We've been together for 40 years, and we have eight wonderful children, 4 boys and 4 girls. So thank God only one want to sing. So when I was raising my daughter at 12, she did her first Starboard project, and I was like, "This is a perfect project for you because you're on your way to show your humanitarian side." It was about getting pumps and stuff over there. They raised over $3 million, and she was on the soundtrack. So that was her first taste of something good. Like my first taste of going to London. But I said, "Skirt." Now I'm gonna give you the ugly side of the game. So what I would do instead of just throwing my daughter out to the wolves, I wanted to build her up so she know the brutal side of this industry, the bad side of this industry. So over the years, I would plant her seed. We would come in the studio at she was 16, 17. Yeah, I'm ready to do my album. Shit. She had that attitude. I was like, she would cry the little tears sometimes. No, because I know that when you get it, you're gonna get it. You're gonna be able to snatch the pebble out of my hand. Now she in her 20, about to come out with her first album, and a reward as her coach, friend, and parent. It's just I can't put the words to it because sometimes I gotta hold back my tears because I jerk it out for my family, my tears.
Yeah.
She'd be like, "Dad, now I understand what you were saying. I understand." So that way she don't be led and subdued into wrong other directions just because people think that's the way to go. No, you don't have to take off your clothes to be successful. Sade is beautiful right now and forevermore.
Yeah.
She's in her 60s. It's like women empower yourself, you know. So she had a taste of all that. And now she got a single out called Karma Could Be. She write her own music. She ain't got no training wheels. She's sophisticated. You know what I'm saying? And as a parent, I just like, thank you. You know what I'm saying?
It means you really took the time, like you said, to cultivate her. You made sure that when she came out here in such a environment that's filled with vultures, she knew how to navigate it without compromising the true essence of who she is, especially as a woman. So shout out to you for spending that time and actually pouring into her because sometimes the industry takes people away from their family and
There's
you've kept that rooted in all that you've done. You
everything we do, sister, is rooted
huh?
in family. I have a company called Buddy Boy Entertainment,
Okay.
and there's nobody on the board but my family. My kids on the board director, wifey's vice president. I'm the owner. My son is the CEO. My daughters do. They're in university. They're part of the company. They got other businesses, a subsidiary just spawning up from this company, and it's all family orientated.
There you
Good.
go.
I didn't try to everything else. This is the only thing that makes sense to me.
So, talk a little bit about what that business is, so that way people understand how you've been able to structure it and include your family into it.
Well, I wanted to start the company called Buddy Boy Entertainment because my name is Jerry Buddy Long Jr. and my father's Motown from Motown legend Jerry Buddy Long Sr. So it's a friendly related name. And I said Buddy Boy Entertainment. So me and my wife started the company and we just wanted to get away from the umbrella of systematic fuckery, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I moved out of California and we got our stuff together. It wasn't easy
Yeah.
at all. When God puts you somewhere else, it don't mean it's gonna be easy. It was, but the more we stayed into a rhythm, and regardless if we had to go through the storms, because storms don't last forever, we start seeing brighter days in our business. And there's a lot of monies from my family because at that time, when nobody giving me shit, this was all hustle. I didn't sell dope. It was doing hooks and different other stuff. Kids working. I had to start back over again. I had to take away the embarrassment and everything, or all the stuff that had been stolen through royalties. I just said I'm not tripping. I'm gonna be a new person like newborn. That's how we carried ourselves. It was tough the first 5 6 years. 5 6 years we weren't getting no money off our records. We were putting out records. I didn't tell the public that until now. And then things start gradually like, oh, okay. It's as though we had to climb this hill to get to that mountain. We couldn't get to the mountain just because we was at the mountain before. This you so we conquered that hill, and
Yeah.
thank God he put us in a powerful position to actually bubble. It's kind of like how Joseph was thrown in the pit and found favor with the captain of the guard and Pharaoh, and interpret his dreams, and all the people that were getting goopy because they were spies and they had to come to Egypt to get their grains. You see what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
kind of like that. You know what I mean? Like because we started our buddyboy.com site years and years and years ago, started our label, took our autonomy, and said basically, you know what I'm saying? It's the reason why we're here. And I look up, we're here in corporations have to consolidate and do different other shit.
Yeah.
It's, it's like you got but they're not tripping because you know why? They knew this was gonna happen, and at the same time, they made a lot of money, so they really don't care.
Oh, I love it. Like, this is I know this is only episode 2 of this podcast, but it's going to be very hard to beat this because, again, you see there's so much knowledge and inspiration in this conversation.
Mhm.
I can't get out of here without having you unpack your project that you're currently working on. You mentioned a little bit earlier, it's a 4 series project, right?
That's almost 4, but it's 3 albums.
3 albums, okay.
3 albums at the same time. It's kind of mirroring the '70s nostalgia from Parliament, Funkadelic, Barcades, because this is what we do.
Yeah.
And it has cats like my daughter on it. I ain't gonna call her a cat. My daughter on it. And it has cats like Ice Cube, Corrupt, Sibo, my Jamaican artist Baby Low, Steve from True, and we did a lot more artists on there. But we really took it on. And prior to doing this record, I wanted to take my time because I want to treat this project like wine. The longer it's in there, the better it tastes. So I didn't want to just put out projects like I normally do because I'm always on projects. I'm always working. Practically every month, I have so many inquiries. I'm always working. But on this one, I took my time, and I'm glad I took my time. The project is out right now. It's doing good. Now, the only time you're going to hear um, some things off the project, the Working Adventures of Dr. Kokestein, I will release singles to some of the streaming platforms. But in order to get my project, you got to come directly to the family at www.buddyboymusic.com. That's BUDE as in Eric, BOY music.com. And we have an immaculate page, customer service. You have the Kokane collection, see the artists on there. It's real easy. When you go up on our site, it'll say secure. And we asking all our people to make sure you make your account so we can tap you into the subscription and keep you part of the news feed and really control this as a culture. This Buddy Boy website and my independence, it's good because it's more of an intimate sharing with the fans as it used to be, as opposed to just living your life and shit getting played on an algorithm. It's not real. No, we're taking back that, and I'm glad to see other artists, independent artists that are following and trailblazing at the same time, because it's a beautiful time. It's a form of reparations right now. They're not gonna give you shit. You got to take your reparations. And this is what we doing. We taking our reparations. Come directly to us, and it's out right now. And a lot of people seem to be talking about it, but we don't celebrate until we cross the finish line. That's it.
Listen, I appreciate you. Artists, entertainers, viewers, people that are true fans of the legendary Mr. Kokane. He just told you how you can stay in contact with him, how you can keep up with the music, how you can support the brand, how you can make sure that you do your part in making sure that these artists out here are taking back the ownership of the craft and the industry.
Yeah.
Thank you again for being candid, for being willing to share some of your blueprint, for exposing us to your family and how much that means to you, and even the knowledge about manifestations, making sure that your energy is right, and making sure that you keep a clear mind for yourself on what it is that you're out here doing and never compromising.
Yeah, sister.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Again, this is the Fleet Nation podcast where we are bringing out all of the celebrities, the tastemakers, and anyone in this industry that's willing to express their journey, tell us a little bit about how we can navigate this industry ourselves and what we need to do to take back our own platform. So you guys know it is your girl. It's just Miss Wells, and you can follow me on Instagram. Kokane, tell these people one more time where they can follow you at and how they can support your movement, and then we are gonna call it a night.
cool. You can reach me at KOKANE_OG. That's at cocaine_OG. That's my Instagram. My Twitter, or they call it the X, is at KOKANE official. Kokane, spelled KOKANE, Kokane on the Facebooks. I don't really do too much. I want some mystique about me, but I ain't hard to reach. And once again, you can go to my site at www.buddyboymusic.com. You spell it BUDE as in Eric, BOY music.com. And let us link you in. And I'm always engaging with the fans. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's about. You know what I mean? Engagement. And I appreciate you for having me on this, I wouldn't say interview, a conversation. Appreciate that. Shout out to the Fleet DJs. I love y'all. Shout out Classic. Thank you, man. Real talk.
Man, until episode 3, family, we are out of here.